Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that are and shall be. We are coming up to 1,000 ratings on Goodreads for The Way of Edan, and I just want to thank everybody who has supported me by buying the books, reading the books, reviewing the books, rating the books. I'm just extremely grateful. That's a pretty big milestone to be approaching. And the other books are also getting some love on all these sites where people review books. So I'm just very grateful to all of you who have taken the time to read the books and share your thoughts on them. And I have some audiobook news as well. We will be getting Return to Edan as narrated by Alan from the Library of Alexandria by, I would say, early December. We can go back in time and listen to it then. No, actually, it's going to be early December, and I could not be more excited because I am absolutely astounded at Alan's brilliance in his performance for The Way of Edan and The Prophet of Edan. I'm just delighted with what he's done, and I can't wait to hear what he's done with Return to Edan. So if you've been waiting for all three to be available on audiobook, that will be happening very soon. Also, the special edition for The Prophet of Edan by The Broken Binding. A little news there. I do believe that the art will be starting any day now. Particularly the black and white art by Peng Lu should be starting fairly soon, at least the last I heard. And probably the color art by Renee Egner won't start until the end of the year or so. So we're looking at early 2026, possibly, for the special edition by The Broken Binding of The Prophet of Edan to go on sale. Now, on the channel, I had a really wonderful time having an episode of Dear Dr. Fantasy with my friend Joanna. This was a reappearance. It's a rare thing to happen on DDF because I do want to get to as many people as I can. But I just felt like it would be a good thing to reconnect with Joanna and have just a great conversation with her, which is what happened. And I had a really great time talking with her about a variety of things, but really just most of all, it just felt great to catch up with a friend. And then, of course, I had my review / whatever you want to call it of Whole Cake Island in my ongoing quest to finish One Piece, which has been the delight of my life for the last year and a half or so. How long has it been since I started? I have no idea. It's been a while, and I have been loving this journey. Whole Cake Island is another really tremendous milestone in One Piece. And I want to thank everybody who has been following along. It's been really just wonderful to have the support from the One Piece veterans and even just people experiencing One Piece for the first time and saying, hey, I just want to thank you for sharing your thoughts. That the videos have been helpful at all to anyone is really gratifying. And I have learned so much in the process. This has been a really tremendous journey because it's been a shared experience with all these people who are just so supportive in the comments. I've learned a lot about One Piece and not least about Japanese culture. And as I approach Wano, which I'm going to be beginning soon, there are a few things I want to do first. And I want to thank several viewers, and one in particular who gave me a list of things to watch. This is a person actually in Japan, very kindly gave me a list of things that I probably would want to be somewhat familiar with before going into Wano, because it is Oda's ode, as it were, to Japanese culture. Now, One Piece transcends culture, but what I've heard about Wano is that it is very much engaging in a lot of things that are more specific to Japanese culture, such as, I'm told, in terms of Japanese art. I want to look into, and I'm kind of probably not pronounce this correctly, so I do apologize, but Hokusai and his era in terms of art. Probably want to look more into Japanese theater. I feel like I learned a little bit about Japanese theater when I read Descending Stories. That was Rakugo. However, this probably is a different type of theater, I'm guessing. The Rakugo is more comedic. This probably is a little more serious, I'm guessing. So I have some learning to do. Another thing I need to be familiar with, and I know they made a movie out of this called 47 Ronin. fairly recently, like in 2013 or so. I think Keanu Reeves was in it. But anyway, there's this Akko incident, which is historical. So 47 Ronin is actually based in history. So being familiar with the Akko incident, maybe I'll even watch 47 Ronin. I don't know how accurate it is or how good it is, but it might be something to check out. In terms of Japanese myth, I'm sure there's a lot that would benefit me, but in particular, Susanoo, I think was the thing I was told I should check out in reference to dragon myths. So that definitely piques my interest. I'm going to be reading the Momotaro, the Peach Boy story. I actually have read a summary of that already, but I want to look into it further because it is relevant to Wano. And then more and more. I got a whole really nice list of stuff that will be helpful for me to be somewhat familiar with as I approach Wano. So I got a little homework to do first. The professor got some homework to do, which is awesome because I think it will enrich my experience of Wano. And and I'm also going to divide my Wano reviews into 3 parts. The Wano, I have been told, is a 3-act structure, and I want to honor that. And I'm sure it would be very difficult since Wano is maybe one of the longest sagas in One Piece. So I'm going to divide that into 3 and take my time. I don't think I'm in a terrible rush to catch up with the current, because I'm actually thinking it's going to be a little rough not having the entirety of what's ahead to binge. If I do catch up, which will happen probably next year, I will have to, like everyone else, be waiting with bated breath for the weekly releases. So, but that's okay. I'll be in good company. And let's see, I also had a video on the channel about how to run a successful Kickstarter. This is something that I don't know much about, but I was joined by someone who does, and that is the author S.A. Klopfenstein, whose book I really enjoyed, Children of the Gods. I listened to it on audiobook, and that is part of his Kickstarter that he's doing. He had really a lot of wisdom and experience to share. He's a successful indie author who has published now 8 books and has done a few Kickstarters. And it was just a great conversation, really, for me to learn a lot, and for anyone who's interested in Kickstarters, particularly, of course, authors who are thinking about doing that sort of thing. I think it would be great to listen to somebody like Steven, that's his first name, who has all that knowledge and was willing to share it. So in terms of my reading, let's start with what I've been listening to on audiobook. I listened to an indie fantasy called The Way of Unity by Sarah Ballstrup. And I'm going to be having a chat with Sarah, actually, fairly soon on the channel. It is something that I hope a lot of people will tune into because I was blown away by the brilliance of Sarah's writing. I mean, she is a top-notch writer. Just some beautiful stuff. What I kept thinking about is, well, if Virginia Woolf had tried her hand at fantasy, the result would be something like The Way of Unity. Yeah, I mean, she's that good. But it's also this incredibly close-up view of what it means to be a human, of human experience, of a kind of an awareness of consciousness as rooted in something like the body, but also incredibly spiritual. This was a fantastic read. The background to the whole thing is there's a bit of a religious struggle. And it is a quarrel between a group that is led by aristocrats, or the guardsmen who ostensibly work beneath those aristocrats, and the people who are the traditional spiritual leaders of this world. And it gets bloody, but it's not that kind of fantasy. It's not like the Adan trilogy or something like that, where you have lots of warfare and that kind of thing. I mean, yes, violence does happen, and sometimes these things are described, but it's really much more intimate. It's much more a close-up look at the experiences of these individuals who are wrapped up in this spiritual quest in the midst of the violence, the quest for meaning. It's just hard to describe, but I'm going to have a conversation with Sarah, and I just loved the experience of that book. And the narrator also did a great job, by the way. I loved the audiobook narrator. I think it was the first audiobook narrator I've listened to that was a woman, And she did a tremendous job, just a great job on that. So yeah, I can't wait to talk with Sarah about that. And I am just about done listening to Orconomics. Now, this is one of the SPFBO champions that I am either reading or listening to for the SPFBO Tournament of Champions, SPFBO being the self-published fantasy blog-off, a contest founded by Mark Lawrence, the author, in order to shine a light on great fantasy. And these are the 10 previous winners of this contest have been pitted against each other, so to speak. I mean, they're all winners. They're all tremendous, great books that people ought to pick up. And such is the case with Orconomics. I'm just about done. I think I have about an hour left to listen to on Orconomics. And it's been a compelling read. I will be reviewing it, so I won't say too much here. I will be reviewing Orconomics. I'm probably going to bundle 3 of the remaining 7 that I have left in October. And then maybe I'll do 2 in November and 2 in December, because the Tournament of Champions ends at the end of the year. So I'm excited to talk about Orconomics, though. It's been a great read. And now, for the other things I've been reading, I had the tremendous pleasure to receive an ebook arc of an anthology called Ethos, a dark fantasy anthology. This is something put together by a group they're calling themselves the Arcanist Guild. But they are the indie authors Benjamin Averin, E.G. Dauble, James Lloyd Doolin, B.S.H. Garcia, Jonathan Nevis Mayers, and Morgan Shank. And I apologize to any of you whose names I just butchered. But I have enjoyed reading your stories very much. I'm going to be chatting with some of the authors. Not all of them can make it, but I'll be chatting with some of the authors about this anthology very soon and releasing that discussion. And I can't wait to share my thoughts on it with them. And hopefully some people will hear about it and support this new release. This is going to be a really exciting. There's a lot of the indie authors are getting together and producing this kind of anthology. These are basically novellas that have been put together, 6 of them by these authors, and they are, as the title suggests, kind of dark fantasy. Although I think they flirt with other genres in there as well. But yeah, it's it for anybody who loves a sense of imagination. I'm excited to talk with those guys. And then physical books. I finished reading part 1 of To Green Angel Tower by Tad Williams. This is the first part of the 3rd book in the trilogy, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, or you could just say it's book 3 of 4 books, which is it's the trilogy that's a tetralogy. However you say it, I love this so much. I've said it a number of times, but I don't mind repeating myself, as my daughters will attest to. This is my wheelhouse. I love this kind of classical epic fantasy. I've really enjoyed my journey in Austin Ard and with Simon and Binibik and the rest. They're just a great crew. I've watched them grow, and that's a really fulfilling part of this journey for me, is to watch these characters grow. Particularly Simon, of course, but in his relationships with characters like Binibik and Miriam L and plenty of others. And it's just, I can't say enough, but I'll have a chance to say some when we get together with a big group over at Booked and Busy. Aaron at Booked and Busy has arranged these discussions of Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and we're going to be near the end of October discussing the last book, To Green Angel Tower. And I also will be having my own discussion with Nikhil from Shelf Esteem. The two of us are the most enthusiastic about the series, and we felt it would be fun to get together and gush. So that is something that's going to happen as well. And Nikhil and I intend to continue in Austin Ard to read the sequel series that Tad Williams has put out. So I'm very, very excited for that, because Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is actually a reread for me a long time ago. I remembered, it's funny to me what I've remembered and what I didn't remember. I feel like I remembered more from books 1 and 2. And then there are bits of To Green Angel Tower that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But it's a more of, I don't know why. I think I know how it ends, but it's kind of fun to test my memory here, I guess. It's just so much fun. And my current read actually is Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. This is the beginning of my great GGK read. This is another reread for me. I read Tigana, I don't know if it was longer ago than I read To Green Angel Tower or not, but it was a long time ago anyway. And I love this book so far. I knew I loved it the first time I read it, but just everybody talks about Guy Gavriel Kay's prose, and I think he has a great deal of skill as a storyteller too, though, and just the way he has put the tension and the character development and everything so far in the chunk that I've read in here. I'm actually admiring a lot of things, and of course the prose. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a really good time for the next year or two, doing a lot of reading of Guy Gavriel Kay's books. And I do have a discussion of this book arranged. And I'm very excited actually about this because I will be talking with Evan from Nerd Writer 1. Once again, he got together with me and with the nemesis, AP Canavan, over at A Critical Dragon. We got together here on my channel to talk about the Malazan Book of the Fallen, the structure and the themes and how they interweave and all that. And that was a really fantastic discussion. Thanks to those two, really, some great insights. And I had a great time hosting it. So it was a good introduction to sort of conversing with Evan about books. And we decided to continue doing that. And now we're going to be discussing Tigana. And he's actually finished it, so he's kind of waiting for me. And I think he enjoyed it very much. So I'm excited to talk with him about it. And I will be continuing with, obviously, To Green Angel Tower. I got to finish this before the discussion that is going to happen. I think I remember the date. I think it was October 25th, maybe? I think it's a Sunday, anyway. I will announce it, of course, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's the 25th in the afternoon, probably a live stream over at Booked and Busy. Sorry, I forgot all those details, but that's going to be next. And when I finish that, I'm going to read and talk about Bernard Cornwell's Excalibur, the third book in his Arthurian trilogy, The Warlord Chronicles. I'm really, really excited to finish the Warlord Chronicles. I've been talking about it with P.L. Stewart, and this time we're going to expand our group because I noticed that the brothers Gwyn and Tudor Ramble were also reading it pretty much the same time P.L. and I were, so I invited everybody to come over to my channel and discuss Excalibur. It's going to be a live stream. It's going to be on November 2 at 1 p.m. And I do remember that date because that was a struggle to schedule, but we got it. And I'm so excited to talk with all those people. Actually, Ed is not going to be able to make it, but Will, I believe, will be there. And Richard and Austin from Tudor Ramble. And of course, PL, my good friend, author of the Drowned Kingdom Saga. So yeah, those are the up-and-coming reads that I will be doing. Other things that I've been up to and other upcoming things. We've got an episode of that was featured on Spotlight Indie, part of a big weekend that they recently had. I was in a discussion of the intersections between history and fiction, the fusion of history and fiction. And there was a great panel there, and we had, I thought, a really good discussion. And I think the feedback has been very positive on that as well. So that is something that I did put out in my posts. I announced that in my post. If you're curious, you can just look in my posts and click on that one. That was a great, really, I felt like I learned a lot during that discussion. I also participated in a discussion of The Circular Ruins by Borges, the author Jorge Luis Borges. Fantastic author. I have read a couple of his other short stories, some of his poems, but this was hosted by Livia Elliott, and this was a really great discussion as well. I do encourage you. It's a very short, it's like 6 pages long, so if you haven't read The Circular Ruins, I encourage you to actually check it out. It's pretty cool. He is a master. He's a sort of a predecessor of authors who are part of the magical realism. I think that he was an inspiration for many of them, and his stories tend to not only dabble but to be really, I think, grounded in the fantastic. So if you're at all interested in magical realism, that kind of thing, This is a really great story about the nature of identity and memory and a lot of other, there's a twist that really kind of is one of those like aha or Twilight Zone moments there at the end of it. So it's really cool stuff. And a great discussion with some really wonderful people over on Livia Elliott's channel. I also put out an announcement about that if you want to check it out. And upcoming, I have on my channel a discussion with the author Adam Bassett and also my friend Jack Shepard, the map maker. And this is the occasion here is Adam is putting out a book called Setting Design, an author's guide to world building and cartography. And this is a really, really cool thing that is coming out. There are tons of maps and other things that are in this book, including the map of Jormungand from the Edan trilogy, which was made by Jack Shepard, which is why we're inviting Jack along to discuss what Adam is doing here. So if you're interested in world building, if you're interested in maps and fantasy and that kind of thing, this is a discussion you definitely want to check out. There's a bunch of other authors' maps that are featured in this book that is just coming out now. So yeah, please do check out that discussion as well. And I'm going to be having a Dear Dr. Fantasy episode with Sylvia from Library Unbounded, and I'm looking forward to that very, very much. And finally, I'll be chatting with Eric from the Imaginarium. I've had a couple chats with him already. Brilliant guy, a licensed psychologist, and just full of insights, and also an indie author. Not indie, actually. He is, I think his is actually published through a actual indie press. So when I say indie author, it's confusing, isn't it? Because people have been saying indie author instead of self-published author when they mean self-published author. But an indie press is still a traditional press. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, I'm excited to be in all of these upcoming discussions and getting into my usual shenanigans around here. But I want to thank you all for being here to support me, for being part of this journey for me. I enjoy so much learning from all of you. And I want to thank you once again for all your support. But that is it for me for now. Until next time.